Hello and welcome to the brand new edition of the newspaper show right here on ET Now. I am Cheryl D'Souza and I will take you through the top headlines and top stories that's there on the Economic Times as well as the Times of India. So let's get going with the top 10 headlines that's there on the Economic Times. And first up, it is draft e-commerce policy seeks to set up a regulator. Moving on, India Inc. is advising on import substitution. You have TikTok chief who's written to government and he shared his plans as well. GILEAD won't launch branded Remdesivir. Vande Bharat fares slashed for US as well as Canada. Moving on to Hindustan Unilever, they have goes with Glow and Lovely name instead of Fair and Lovely. Emami says that is unfair. PI Industries to raise 2,000 crore via share sale. This was an ET Now exclusive and now it is confirmed. Moving on, Parekh backs one-time rejig of realty loans. You have KKR that is going to buy 54% stake in JB Chemicals for 3,100 crore. And lastly, Modi and Putin discuss S-400 and strategic ties. So those are the top 10 headlines as there on the Economic Times for you this morning. But let's shift focus now to the top market headlines as there in the newspaper. First up, Sensex rallies 40% from March lows. NSE to drop Vedanta from all indices. Axis Bank to raise 15,000 crore rupees via share sale. You have Rupee that surged to 3-month high against the dollar. Lastly, shut Franklin funds get 2,667 crore rupees cash inflow. Now from market to the corporate front, and let's see what's making headlines on that front. Mobility companies may downsize their fleet. You have Kerala to start human trials of COVID-19 vaccine. ArcelorMittal to invest 20,000 crore rupees in Gujarat. MSME loans dipped 7% since March. And lastly, uncertainty sees companies suspending their guidance. Alright, now let's shift focus and let's talk about the top headline that's there on the Economic Times for you this morning. And first up, this is the story that I'm going to talk about. It is the draft e-commerce policy that is going to seek to set up a regulator as well as restrict the data storage. It will focus more on promotion on e-commerce. Companies that store or mirror Indian users' data overseas will be subject to periodic audits. So let me talk more on this story. Amazon, Flipkart, Facebook, YouTube and other companies that store or mirror Indian users' data overseas will be subjected to periodic audit according to the draft e-commerce policy that will soon be made public. E-commerce companies will have to make available any data the government seeks within 72 hours or pay a penalty. This is as per the draft which the Economic Times has actually seen. The focus is more on promotion of e-commerce as we have tried to distance from data localization is a word coming in from the government official. Drawing a distinction with last year's draft that sought to impose tight controls on user information being stored overseas. So this is what it is in works, draft e-commerce policy. They're looking to set up a regulator and also restrict data storage, especially the companies that store Indian data users' data abroad. They will have periodic audits as well. So this is the top story that's there on the Economic Times for you this morning. Let me shift focus now to another story that's there on the front page of Economic Times, and this is the story that I'm going to talk about India Inc. on what are they advising on the import substitution. They are talking about reducing their dependence on China. Yesterday you even had JSW Group say that they are going to reduce their dependence on Chinese imports. Suggestions have been made to the Commerce Ministry. The stress is on local production. Indian companies have started submitting their proposals to the government on ways to reduce their imports dependence on China, recommending measures such as levy of COVID-19 duties on non-essential products, reduction of custom duties on plant and machineries from other countries. So this is the suggestions are coming. The suggestions also, like I mentioned, include imposition of COVID-19 import duties of as much as 15% on non-essential imports across the sector. Also, they are saying even for the products that are routed through countries that have a free trade agreements with India. This is the word coming in from government official to Economic Times. So as of now, the latest update coming on that front, the India Inc. has started submitting their suggestions to the government on how to reduce the imports coming in from China. Now let's shift focus to some corporate news that came in last evening, and that is about KKR that is all set to buy 54% stake in JB Chemicals for 3,100 crore rupees. For more details on this, I'm joined by my colleague Vivek. Vivek, take us through this latest purchase that's coming in from KKR into JB Chemicals.
Well, absolutely right. This is an extremely important and a very big deal. Now, what you're actually looking at this point of time. Now, remember, number one, KKR invested quite a bit as far as Geo Platforms was concerned. But this is a completely different transaction. And this is a transaction that, is already based on a company that is already listed, and it's not an indirect purchase. So number one, the company in focus is JB Chemicals and Pharma. This is one of the oldest pharma companies in India. And also remember that JB Chem and Pharma, is one of the few companies that actually makes the ranitidine tablets as well. That was in the news for quite some time for some of the wrong reasons earlier this year. Now, what has actually happened is that the promoters of the company, they totally or in a combined manner own a little over 54% stake in the company. So, and earlier this year, they had launched a term sheet in order to go ahead and sell the entire stake so that the ownership of the company could change hands. A lot of PE players had evinced interest, and the Economic Times had earlier reported around 2 weeks back that KKR was leading the race. So now what has happened is that KKR is going to take over the entire 54% stake from the promoters of the company, and this particular stake would be bought at a price of 744 rupees, 45 rupees a share. Because of this particular transaction, an open offer will be triggered as per the SEBI rules, and again another 26% additional stake would require to be taken over by KKR. So overall, when you're talking about the entire deal size could be close to 4,600 crore rupees. And given the fact that the deal is at a premium to the current market price, it will be extremely interesting to see how JB Chem reacts in trade today.
All right, thank you, Vivek, for getting us the important development. Like Vivek mentioned, important to see how JB Chemicals reacts to this particular transaction in trade today. But let's shift focus to another story that's there on the front page of Economic Times, and that is about GILEAD. They won't be launching their branded Remdesivir. The generic version is likely to be launched in India soon. But what does this mean, and what's the impact that it will have on the pharma companies or on the COVID-19 drugs? I'm joined by my colleague Pankaj to take us through this particular story. Pankaj, take us through what is this particular development, what does it actually mean for all of us?
So, Cheryl, this is a very important development, as far as Remdesivir launch is concerned. Now, when we talk about GILEAD, they went ahead and said that they would be launching in the branded drug back in July here into India. But however, due to some shortage or maybe excess buying coming in from some of the other markets, it's not possible for them to launch, or they're saying that the launch essentially would get delayed from here on. But, GILEAD has already gone ahead, given generic licenses to various countries, various different big pharmaceutical companies in different countries to launch the drug. And that's why, it's not a matter of big concern, because the generic version of this would be available pretty soon, maybe at a lower price as well. So we'll just wait and watch for that. You just get a sense that the demand for this drug, which was expected to be very high considering the ongoing COVID-19 issues, is just making this drug slightly unavailable. Maybe production issues can be solved out in the next 2 to 3 weeks, and that's something which all the countries would be eyeing out now for.
Thank you, Pankaj, for taking us through the important development coming with regards to Remdesivir. Let's shift focus now on to page 9 of Economic Times, and this is the man here in focus. That is Nestle India's MD, Suresh Narayanan, who spoke exclusively to Economic Times. And what was the takeaway from that particular interview? I have my colleague Vinny joining in to take us through. Vinny, what is actually the Nestle India's MD talking this time around?
Nestle India's managing director Suresh Narayan spoke to Economic Times, and in that he said that to judge the demand currently is in these uncertain times is very difficult, and he thinks that predicting demand outlook will be tough even for the next 2 months, as people are losing their jobs, they are reducing their spend, they are not looking to spend that much money, there's a reduction in wages of employees. So this scenario is very uncertain, and in these uncertain times it becomes very difficult to judge the demand for consumers or how consumers are going to be spending. But further he said that the government's push of the package of the 20 lakh crore was announced in the last month, and that should have pushed the initiatives on the demand side. But he said that would be better if if people were given funds directly, or that was transferred, direct funds were transferred to the weaker section. That would be see more growth over there. But this will surely lead to some positive stimulus due to the package. So that is also some positive side. But he had hoped that there would be a direct transfer of funds, which would lead to a better buying in the essential goods services. Now he said that as of now, the working capital and the substantial loan relief packages through banks, especially especially for MSMEs, is very powerful, as this can increase this can help them implement their business and also increase the speed of implementing the business. So this will be very positive for these companies, and he expects to see some improvement there. But talking about consumption trend, he said there are two clear trends that are shaping up. One, consumers are downtrading. That means they're going for smaller packages. They are sticking to the affordable packages, which are ₹10 packs, well-positioned packs like that. And also the second trend is they're going for affordable pricing and affordable values is what they are looking at. And these are the two clear consumption trends that he expects to continue also for some time. So let's see how this actually pans out for consumption companies as well as Nestle's, and what is the actual demand shaping up in the next couple of months.
All right, let's shift focus now to ET Markets page, and the story there is this one that we are going to talk about. Rather, my colleague Poonam is going to join us to talk about, and that is foreign banks are fretting over RBI's proposal for a board in India. They're saying a board presiding over branch offices not legally feasible or even effective. This is what they believe. Poonam is here to take us through the details of the story and what does it actually mean, and what are the foreign banks actually telling. Poonam, good morning. Take us through the details of this particular story that's there on the Economic Times.
Hi, good morning, Cheryl. In fact, if you look at the entire story, it does state that the foreign banks are likely to raise their concerns within a week to Reserve Bank of India with regards to the recent discussion paper that RBI has stated. In the recent discussion paper, RBI has unambiguously stated that the foreign banks which do have presence in India, either via a wholly owned subsidiary model or via the presence of a branch, should have a board presence as well in India. Now, most of the foreign banks do state that probably the entire discussion paper should read as only being applicable to a wholly owned subsidiary and not really to a foreign bank which has a presence just via a branch model. Legal experts do state that such a board proceeding over the branch offices is neither legally feasible nor effective. Besides, it may not be acceptable by the bank headquarters and regulators abroad. Also, if you look at the overall details, they do state that the branch of a foreign bank is neither an incorporated entity nor does it have legally recognized charter documents in India, and therefore cannot offer such immunity to shadow boards sought to be constituted under the new discussion paper. So yes, quite a bit of finer details are there. Besides, I do know that earlier, Cheryl, the foreign banks were supposed to have advisory boards as well in India, but that was dismantled long back. One of the officials also mentioned that we are unsure what RBI has in mind when it talks about board of directors for branches. In that case, RBI should say that all foreign banks have to operate as wholly owned subsidiaries and not branches. But we will have to wait and watch out for the developments on this space. But as of now, there are some concerns by the foreign lenders.
All right, thank you, Poona, for taking us through in detail about the story. Let's shift focus to another story, and here you go. This is what it is all about, and that is HDFC's Deepak Parekh. He's called for one-time restructuring of realty loans. What is he actually asking for, and where has he spoken about this? I believe it's a letter to the shareholders. My colleague Varun is standing by to take us through the highlights of what Deepak Parekh has told the shareholders. Good morning, Varun, and take it away.
Good morning, Cheryl. So from the annual report at HDFC comes this letter where he basically asks for a one-time restructuring for the real estate sector loans. This will help developers to fund the last mile financing for their projects which are currently stuck. So the RBI, is what Deepak Parekh says, should permit a one-time restructuring. This will also help them clear off inventories, and it will bring real estate prices back to regular range, which will overall work in the benefit of the sector. So this is a debate that's been on for a while. You know, some parties believe that you should not give a one-time restructuring because such facilities have been misused in the past and have also been a vehicle for people in the sector to siphon off money. So there's a bit of a debate there, but let's see what the RBI does. He also, ironically, in the same letter, just defended the banks and financial institutions. He spoke about how moratorium is great, but an interest waiver was an absolutely, impractical idea. It could not have been given, and it goes against the fundamental principles of banking. So it'll be interesting to see. He's also called for a level playing field between NBFCs and housing finance companies to raise money through external commercial borrowings. So this is all obviously just a top banker, stating his opinions of what should be done. There's no one-time restructuring being given to the real estate sector just yet. We'll be looking out for commentary from the regulator on that.
All right, thank you, Varun, for taking us through that story coming in. HDFC, Deepak Parekh writing to shareholders, talking about one-time rejig for realty loans. Let's shift focus now on to page 4 of Economic Times, and this is the story that I'm going to talk about, and that is TikTok CEO who's written to the government. He's shared his plans also. Kevin Mayer, who is the CEO of TikTok, he's saying that they've offered to set up a center to develop products and a local data hub. Chinese short video platform TikTok has offered to set up an engineering center to design and develop products in India, while reiterating its plan to establish a local data center in a letter to the Indian government. This is as per the top government official. Kevin Mayer, who is the TikTok's US-based CEO, wrote to Electronics and IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad in the wake of the app ban. He's requested for a meeting with Ravi Shankar Prasad to explain the data sharing practices of the platform. He's saying that the company is willing to cooperate with government on all fronts. He's reiterated that the data center plan to store data locally. In last year, July, TikTok had said that it will set up a data center in India in 6 to 18 months with an investment of $100 million. So he's reiterated on that plan, saying that they are on track to go ahead and to have a data center plan right here in India. So this is what is the latest coming in, that the TikTok CEO has written to the government, has shared his plan. He's sought for a personal meeting with Ravi Shankar Prasad to explain the data sharing practices of the platform. So remember, India is the biggest market for TikTok with close to 200 million users. So that's the latest development coming in on that particular front. But let's shift focus now from TikTok to HUL. And HUL yesterday rebranded as Fair and Lovely to Glow and Lovely, which after that actually had the rival Emami say that it had already launched a men's product with a similar brand name, and it has accused HUL of violating its trademark rights. Neha Tyagi is here to take us through those developments. Neha, what is HUL's rebranding of Fair and Lovely mean for the company, and what is Emami saying?
Well, it's official. Hindustan Unilever's Fair and Lovely is now Glow and Lovely. The men's range Fair and Handsome will be called Glow and Handsome. If you remember, on 25th June, Hindustan Unilever had announced its decision to rebrand Fair and Lovely, its best-selling range of fairness products, owing to the backlash received from all across the world in the light of the Black Lives Matter movement and subsequent decision of MNCs like Johnson & Johnson to discontinue fairness lines. HUL had said that they would also remove the usage of words fairness, whitening and lightening for all of its products. Just a few days ago, Sanjeev Mehta, the chairman of the company, had defended his decision by saying that this was not a knee-jerk reaction but the next step towards evolution of its skincare brand. He'd also said that the company had been working towards revitalizing the brand for a while now. He said that over the years, the fairness segment has come down owing to the fact that consumers have been asking for value-added benefits like nikhar, blemish-free skin, as well as glow apart from fairness. He said that in 2019, the communication for the brand changed from fairness to high definition glow. In 2019, the company also removed the two-faced cameo as well as the shade guides from the packaging of Fair and Lovely. After the decision of HUL to rebrand rebrand Fair and Lovely, several other brands including Emami and L'Oreal had also made similar announcement. Emami had said that they would relook at their fairness range. L'Oreal had said that they would stop the use of words like fairness, whitening and lightening for all of its products. The response to this decision from the consumers has been 50-50. Some consumers believe that this is a welcome.
All right, thank you, Neha, for taking us through that important development. Now, on to Times of India, and this is a story that I'm going to talk about. It's about with Joe Biden in what is he saying about H-1B visa. I'm joined by my colleague Chandra to take us through the details. Chandra, Joe actually coming out and saying that he will look to actually repeal the H-1B ban in contrast to what the Trump has done.
That's right. This is a shot in the arm because Joe Biden has said that his administration will revoke the Trump administration's ban on H-1B visas on day one of his presidency. Importantly, he's also said that boosting ties with New Delhi will be a high priority because India remains a natural partner. Now, Joe Biden's position on foreign relations and immigration has been spelled out at two virtual events and on his website over the last week because this really highlights the divergent views that he has from Trump on H-1B. Now, remember, H-1B visas are not just important for Indian IT companies. Once the ban happened, you saw the likes of Google, Amazon, Twitter, Facebook and others come out strongly. Microsoft too has opposed it. So it's very crucial for all these big US technology giants to also hire talent using these work visas. So it's certainly going to be a positive if Joe Biden is saying this. And he's also called New Delhi, or rather India, a natural partner, despite his concerns on the Kashmir issue. So that's an interesting development and something that India can be hopeful about if Biden were to be elected.
All right, Chandra, thank you for taking us through that important development coming in on that front. And with that, it's a wrap on this edition of the newspaper show.